McCarthy Insurance Group, serving the community for over 70 years. For home, farm, motor, life, health and business insurance, log on to mig.ie or free phone 1800 50 11 11. Probably your best call in 2024. Charles McCarthy Insurance is trading as McCarthy Insurance Group, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
Hi, Niall. I would love your opinions on this. Man to man. Mano et mano. And whatever your listeners think of it as well. My missus is 3.5 months pregnant. It is our first child. Congratulations. We are in our late 30s. We have been together for 10 years. And we were never sure about having children. But this has happened now. And to be honest, I'm delighted. We always socialised a lot in our relationship. Went to the pub a lot, etc. It never crossed my mind that would be an issue if we had a kid. But Niall, my wife, has not stopped drinking for the pregnancy. She's having just shy of a glass of red wine most evenings. I was so shocked she continued this that I didn't know what to say at first. But I am after saying to her she should stop. And Niall, she said she would if I would too. I'm so disgusted with her. This is my child that she's carrying. Why in God's name would she want me to give up the drink? I'm not the one carrying it. What kind of woman would do this? I'm at my wit's end. Anon. So many people are christened Anon in this country. That's right to us. I don't know why. Oh, that's Anon Anonymous, is it? Sorry. I'm joking. Anyway, so she's 3.5 months pregnant. She's still drinking a glass of wine a night. That's nearly 2 bottles a week, isn't it? Roughly. What's the word? 4 glasses? Well, it depends on how big the glass is. It's generally 4 glasses of wine per bottle. So it's 2 bottles a week of wine. Most doctors would tell you not to do that. And on a very serious note, all joking aside, drinking during pregnancy is not a good thing to do. Alcohol use during pregnancy can cause birth defects and developmental disabilities, collectively known as fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. It can also be the cause of other pregnancy problems, such as miscarriage, stillbirth, and prematurity. So that's the serious part of it. But here's the unserious part of it. She wants him to give up the drink as well. Now, Kate Middleton, I think, did this, didn't she, to Harry? When she, do you remember that, Jane? She kind of gave him a bit of an ultimatum. There was a load of list of rules when she got pregnant. Anyway, he's got a point. Why should he have to give up drinking? He's not pregnant. She's the one who's pregnant. But is it irresponsible to drink while you're pregnant? Or is it okay to have a few glasses? Or if you're a smoker, is it okay to keep smoking every now and again? Because I know women who just kept smoking and drinking during the pregnancy. They said everything was fine. But you take a risk. There's a huge risk involved. So the question is she being irresponsible, drinking, a glass of wine a night while she's pregnant? And is he right? Is she being grossly irresponsible? Or is she right and saying he should be supporting her by stopping drinking as well for the 9 months, or almost 10 months, 40 weeks? All right, let's go to Sean. Sean, hi, how are you?
Hi, Niall, how are you?
Good. Sean, I mean, is she being irresponsible by still continuing to drink a glass of red wine every night?
Well, I don't think so, Niall. Because, we have 3 kids, Niall, and my partner had a few beers on each occasion of the kids, and we went out regularly, Niall. And we went out, twice a week, and we did go out twice a week. I think it's all bullshit, Niall, to be honest.
Now, to be fair, it's not all bullshit, because the evidence is there that drinking is a risk during pregnancy. There's,
Well, everything is a risk, Niall. They say,
Yeah, but you want to reduce the risks, don't you?
Well, as I say, there was never a problem with my kids. And
thankfully.
Well, I'm not thanking anybody. There wasn't. I'm not thanking anybody. I'm just saying how it is, Niall.
So what? Is he being controlling, telling her to not be drinking?
I think so. Yeah. I really do. I absolutely do. Yeah, of course I do. Well, it was good enough for the goose. It's good enough for the gander as well.
Yeah.
I
know there's women who still smoke as well while they're pregnant too.
And that's what my partner done as well. She smoked.
So she was smoking and drinking throughout her pregnancy?
Yeah.
Okay, no, Sean, I'm delighted your kids are all okay. I know they're all grown up now and everything else. I'm delighted they're all okay and everything worked out fine. But that's not always the case. I mean, there is actual evidence there that drinking and smoking can cause birth defects, developmental disabilities. It's called a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. You know what I mean? It can cause miscarriage, stillbirths.
I think everything, Niall, is a risk, and you know, sure, if you taste less now, it's a risk when you're pregnant that you can have a problem with your child. So so what are risks? Well, everybody takes a risk. Life is life. I didn't expect my partner to stop her life just because she was having kids, Niall.
No, but you adjust your life when you're pregnant, obviously.
No, she didn't drink as heavy, Niall. I get that. She didn't smoke as heavy, but she still smoked and she still drank. And that's what a lot of people done back then, Niall. And look,
well, that was back then. Yeah, my mother probably did the same. Probably smoked 60 cigarettes a day. But here's the thing. Yeah, but
and what's wrong with you? Nothing. And what's wrong with me? Nothing.
Yeah, but hang on. The mortality rate for childbirth was a lot higher then. In other words, children did die, and we know more now. So it's now a safer time to have children because we don't take as many chances anymore.
Sure, Jesus, no! If you didn't take chances, we'd be all dead. That's the way I see it. I don't, and I disagree to the length that anybody should tell anybody what to do just because they're pregnant, Niall.
It is his baby too. I know she's carrying it, but it is his baby as well.
I would never have told my missus, look, you want to stop drinking or you want to stop smoking. Like I say to you, it's. I don't know. I'm not. I just don't agree with it, Niall. I just don't think that he has. I don't think he has a leg to stand on here, to be honest.
Right, you just think he's being controlled. Well, hang on, stay there. Let me just go to Jennifer. Jennifer, hi, how are you?
Hi, Niall, how are you?
There you go. Sean thinks he's being controlling by even suggesting it to her.
Yeah, well, I think as in everything in life, I think moderation is the key word. And to be honest, there's no evidence that drinking moderately during pregnancy causes any risk of adverse outcome. A glass of wine sometimes may even reduce heart disease. So, a single glass it's not enough to expose the fetus to alcohol in the womb.
Well, I'm not a doctor, but according to doctors, and I'm reading here, doctors advise avoiding alcohol during pregnancy is the safest option. They go on to say there is no proven safe amount of alcohol a woman can drink during pregnancy. If you drink alcohol during her pregnancy, some alcohol will pass through the placenta into your baby, and the more you drink, the greater the risk. That's just the evidence.
Yeah. Well, the old saying, doctors differ and patients die, Niall.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they know more than we do. You know what I mean?
Pardon?
That's okay, Niall, in saying that. But the fact of the matter is that doctors are always going to warn you about everything and anything. But if we listen to everything, Niall, the doctor said, should we be all dead? If that's the case. For fuck's sake, I'm just saying. Life is for living. I don't believe a woman just has to stop her life and stop her social life and stop having a beer here and there. And look, if they want to smoke and if they want to smoke, if they want to drink, they have to, they can have a drink. I don't believe this.
Okay, sorry, can I ask Jennifer? Jennifer, do you have children yourself?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. I have 3 children, and I have grandchildren.
And did you smoke or drink during your pregnancy?
Well, I probably had the occasional drink. I wouldn't have, I'm of the old stock. I mean, I'm over 70 now, so back in the day.
Jeez, Jennifer, you don't sound over 70.
Thank you very much. But I come from the old stock, as I say. My mother, when she was pregnant, she was told a glass of stout. Now,
that's
stout
right.
is probably
Guinness,
that a glass of stout a day, it would be good for her iron levels. They even actually gave it to them when they were in the Rotunda Hospital, would you believe? So, they do, opinions change all the time, and I think moderation is the key word. I don't believe in going out and getting hammered when you're... But by all means, a glass of wine, it can help sometimes... with pregnancies. Pregnancies can be very hard to deal with. Sometimes people can have very, very hard time, both psychologically and physically,
Yeah, I don't understand. Sorry, Sean, what are you trying to say there to Jennifer? So what are you trying to say?
I'm just saying there what Jennifer said, and fair play to her. And Jesus, she sounds great for 70. Well done, Jennifer.
I actually, to be honest with you, we both sound like we're insulting her now because I don't know whether you're meant to fall apart when you're 70. I don't know.
No, I actually thought she was a young one. I'm being honest. But the fact of the matter is, I'm seeing what Jennifer said. Now, there's 9 of us now. My mother was throwing out kids. There was,
Throwing out kids.
No, I'm just saying. There was nothing like there was today, Niall, back then. There's none of these vaccinations that we have today, and there was none of this codswallop of don't do this, don't do that. Life was life back then, Niall, as we know it. And, there's 9 of us, Niall. There's nothing wrong with 9 of us. The whole of us are good, healthy kids. We went on to good, healthy kids. And so why? Where is the evidence that you cannot drink, you cannot smoke when you're pregnant? I'd love to see it. They say it now. Of course they're going to say it. Of course they are. But the fact of the matter is, my mother drank like a lunatic and smoked like a lunatic back then, and I do remember it. And every one of my brothers and sisters, nothing wrong with us now.
Hold on a second. As you know, I'm adopted. My biological mother, or my adoptive mother, the reason I was adopted was because she smoked a lot. And she had like 4 miscarriages. That's why she ended up adopting me, right? So what I'm saying is, now I'm not saying that's the reason for her miscarriages. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But alcohol does increase the risk of miscarriage. It does.
Well, like I said, back in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s and 70s and 80s, women were having kids like there was no tomorrow. They were drinking and smoking like lunatics. That's my point.
Yeah, and I've just given the evidence to rebut that. The mortality rate was higher. Babies died more. There were more stillbirths. There were more miscarriages than there is now. So what I'm saying to you is, it does have an effect.
Well, in excess, anything in excess can do that.
And you're right, Jennifer, in excess. But Sean, when you went out with your missus while she was pregnant and you were going out socialising, did she ever get drunk?
Oh, she did, Niall. Of course she did. I'd be a liar to say that she didn't.
I don't know. People, I don't know.
She's an easy drunk. She'd have 3 points now and she'd be locked.
She's a cheap night out, isn't she?
Yeah. I wouldn't pass an arm and a leg to bring her out.
What are you doing, Sean? Your phone has gone all muffly, but I don't know what you're doing there to your phone.
No, there is no clear evidence, though, to suggest that drinking small amounts of alcohol during pregnancy is harmful, and there is absolutely no clear evidence.
I'm going to dispute that.
I think getting drunk and falling down drunk, and I don't agree with that at all. I just want to be clear.
Well, that's what I think is happening
these days. A small amount of alcohol.
I think they're drinking bottles of vodka. I think they're drinking bottles of vodka and bottles of whiskey now these days, and they're fucking lunatics. They're going around dancing and going out to nightclubs. That's I think what the problem is these days. A lot of difference between back then to what today is. They're all smoking hash and they're doing drugs now when they're pregnant.
But that doesn't make it right. I'm looking here, okay? It says there is no well-accepted scientific evidence that low or moderate levels of alcohol consumption during pregnancy, even in the first few days or weeks after conception, cause fetal alcohol syndrome or other associated problems.
That's just what I said now.
I know.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's from the National Institute of Health. Yeah.
It is small amounts, though. We're talking maybe a glass of wine, not a bottle.
But Sean's missus was getting drunk.
Well, she's 3 points is not an awful lot of fucking drink. Jesus. It's weird she was going out drinking a bottle of whiskey. That's what I'm saying. So was she. 2.5 points. And,
I have an image in my head. I went to the Take That concert in the Croke Park going back about 10 years ago. And there was a young one in front of me. I'd say she was about 27. And I'd say she looked 9 months pregnant. And she was absolutely hammered. And I was up at the Gods, right? And she had 2 pints, the plastic pints in her hand, swinging and dancing, standing up on the steps. I said, oh my God, she's going to... I said, she's going to fall. She's just going to fall.
That's the 2023 we live in today, yeah?
Let me go to Paul. Paul, hi, how are you?
Hiya, how are you, Niall?
Yeah, I'm listening to all this here, and I started off with one opinion. Jennifer's kind of switching me around a little bit, but now Sean's not. But Jennifer is.
Yeah, now come here, listen. I'm going to be very honest about it. I've got 3 kids, and you know, I still have my partner. I live on my own for 2 years, but at the time that when I met me, one of my kids, you know, I was there 8 years, and look, I went to treatment to get off the drink and all that I did, but when I lived with her and my son was born, couldn't stop me drinking. Couldn't stop her drinking. Couldn't do anything like that, to be honest with you. You know? And when I mean drinking, one of my kids, yeah, she drank. Not every day. Probably Monday, Tuesday. Go off on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, drank a lot. Drank a fucking lot. And smoked a lot as well. You know? And yeah, probably on the other hindsight, as they call it, on the other side, got away with it. But my son, right, he's born with emphysema, he was on his lung. You know, and...
Well, that's not good for a child to have emphysema. Now, I don't know if that's something to do with the drink or not, but...
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
It's to do with drink, but...
Yeah.
We thought he had a heart murmur. I mean, we were in the hospital and they were like, you know, like, he's bleeding or whatever. But they sent all the x-rays to the Armour Street Hospital over in London, right, and come back here to emphysema. And they're like, how can you get emphysema when you're so
As a
big?
child, yeah.
Know, as a child, you know, and...
Well, and did they put it down to the smoking?
Yeah, hereditary smoking, Hereditary smoking they put down to, you know.
Right.
But it's not good for people to do that. But at the same point, I just want to ring up tonight to say, you know, women can have a drink, men can have a drink. And like I said to you, I'm not going to sit here on the phone and say to you, you know, I'm proving it up, because I'm not. You know, I'm fucking 45 this year. I'm an alcoholic. And I couldn't change what I was. You know, I got myself through treatment. I got myself my own home. I love my home and have my kids back in my life. But in the same point, like, I'm just trying to say, like, you know, you can get in a relationship with somebody, you can be with them for years, and you can be with someone for 2 or 3 years before now the woman's pregnant, and you're going to sit there and say, well, listen, you can't have a drink anymore. You know, you can't change somebody else's life. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying you can, and maybe Sean is right. Maybe it's a bit controlling to turn around to your missus and say you need to stop drinking now, but maybe your missus should just know that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't live in 1970 anymore. We live now in 2023 where we're so much more aware of the dangers of smoking and drinking during pregnancy that you'd have to be stupid not to understand there's a risk.
Yeah.
Is that not a good point as well, Jennifer, that, you know, we're so knowledgeable? Like, for example, people generally, hopefully, don't take up smoking anymore because we now know that, you know, smoking is a huge risk. You know, in the 70s, when I started smoking in the 70s, we didn't know those things. We just started smoking and we thought it was cool. But now we all know
Same
that.
here, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Why do you still smoke, Jennifer?
No, I gave them up 20 years ago.
Oh, good for you. Yeah. I you know what? I went to give them up again today. I said, I'm giving them up. That's it. And I was going down to the shop for something else. And as I was getting the something else at the counter, I just happened to say to the guy, 20 Marlboro Red, please, too. And he put them in the bag. And I walked out of the shop and I said, I'm not buying cigarettes. That's just a habit of buying them. I had stopped. I told myself I was going to stop today. And it was just a habit. It's really hard.
They are, Niall. I gave the cigarettes up there 2 years ago, Niall, and I ended up in a very bad way. Chest infections all the time, Niall.
I know. You're right. And I know people that's happened to, by the way. They ended up with a cough after they gave up smoking because they say that's your lungs cleaning out or something like that or whatever. I don't know.
Well, they say that, Niall, but I ended up going back on them in the first. Back in the.
Oh, you went back on them?
I did, Niall. I actually had, you know, and I'm still smoking, Niall, and I don't like it. I don't. Of course, I don't. But
How long are you back on them, pal?
How long am I back on them?
No, the chap that's talking there, how long is he back on them?
It's just, you know, I only gave them up for 2 months, 2.5 months, and I was in bits, and I went straight back on them, like, you know, so. Yeah. Like, I'm
not
smoking,
easy. It's not easy.
No, not at all. I'm smoking nearly 30 years now, so, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, and Jennifer, did you just go cold turkey?
I did at the time. I mean, there was none of these vapes or anything out then. I I gave them up. Actually, I was in support of my sister, who was a heavier smoker than I was, and she asked me, would I support her, because at that time you could have a cigarette while you're having a drink, in the pubs and that.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'm not a heavy smoker, but I will give them up to support you. Went out to the loo that night, and there she was puffing away after me, spending a whole week off the cigarettes, but sure, that's another story. But no, getting back to what you're saying about the education we have today, it's true, Niall. But if like you've just checked there's no clear evidence that a small amount of alcohol, like a glass of wine, would do any harm. And just speaking to my daughter there, she's just recently had a baby, and she's breastfeeding, and she was told initially, with the other children that she breastfed, if you're having a drink, pump and dump. Pump and dump. So in
What's
other words,
pump and
get rid
dump?
of the milk.
Oh, the milk.
And now they're saying, the milk, sorry, yeah.
And how long does the
pump and
alcohol stay in the milk for? 24 hours or whatever? I don't know.
Well, you're telling you now you don't need to do that at all. So, minds are being changed all the time, the mindset all of the time.
I'm thinking so. So if the baby is sucking on the breast of a non-drinker, is that alcohol-free milk? That is the way it is. Zero breast milk.
It is, but apparently if you have a glass of wine, you don't have to do all this pumping and dumping. You
Right,
can
okay.
actually
Sounds like a
feed your
waste,
baby
yeah.
an hour afterwards, and it's absolutely harmless. So you just don't know what to believe, Niall. And like I say, the key word.
Yeah. Sorry, Sean. Go ahead very quickly. Go on.
Well, the fact of the matter is, like the guy that actually said this, and that was originally saying to this girl that she should give up drinking, and she said to him, "Give up drinking." I think that was a fair call. If he's going to be, if he's saying it to her, and she said it back to him, I think that's a fair call. And I really do think that's a fair call. It wouldn't be fair on him going out in the piss with his mates while she's sitting there and she's
She's drinking lemonade. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I get you.
I think
well, listen, it's been nice talking to you, Paul. Thank you very much indeed. Sean, thanks very much indeed. And Jennifer, thank you very much indeed. By the way, loads of people are texting in, Jennifer, they don't believe you're 70, but there you go. Alrighty.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Nice talking to you, Niall.
Okay, you too, Jennifer. Okay. Anyway, let me go to Martin. Martin, hi.
Well, I would say, first off, personally, I don't believe that moderate consumption, and when I say moderate, I mean quite moderate. It's only my personal opinion. That moderate consumption, a glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine a week. There are many cultures where women will drink 2 or 3 glasses of wine a week and are pregnant, and it doesn't seem to show a problem. The issue is that women are born with every egg they will ever produce.
Yep.
They're already born with them. Now, men, on the other hand, we produce sperm on an ongoing basis. Now, yes, of course, overconsumption of alcohol is detrimental to the development of a fetus.
It's also detrimental to sperm, by the way, can I point out too? Yeah.
That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
It is detrimental to sperm, both in quality terms to the shape of the sperm, the motility of the sperm, the health of the sperm. But there is, I can't remember what it was, early this year or late last year. I think it was this year. Being a nerd and kind of off out in my own head in the wilderness, walking around, I sign up to all kinds of universities and colleges, whatever, research groups who will send publications to. They'll send you information. They do it. Now, yes, they try to sell you things as well. I'm not really interested in buying, but if they're good enough to send me something that they found or a recent report or research. But it was, I'm sure it was from Texas A&M University. And they found that men who overindulged in alcohol before fertilizing, and I don't mean just going on a weekend binge, I mean, men who are habitually heavy consumers of alcohol, it has an effect on the sperm. Not just on the quality and the motility and the shape of the sperm, but on the actual genetics of the sperm. And they found that it can have, not in every case, of course, but it can have an effect on the brain, the cranial features, the shape of the skull, and other skeletal features.
It also, I'm reading here, it also has a dramatic effect on hormone levels. Alcohol can also inhibit the function of the testes, and also.
I know you're cheating.
I know.
You're checking the internet now. Well, I'm trying to remember this. I'm 63 years of age, and you're checking it now on the internet. That's not fair. You're stealing my thunder.
It also stops sperm from developing properly and reducing the sperm's ability to move towards the egg.
When was that study?
No,
Can you see it there?
No, I'm looking here. Okay, this is only on Drink Aware. So, yeah, I don't actually know when the study was.
So you're not looking at the actual Texas A&M study, are you?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I take that back then. You're not stealing my thunder. No, but do you get my point? I mean, what I'm saying is, before people start kind of demonizing or vilifying women who might take a glass of wine or a glass of beer or even an occasional short, let's look at ourselves as well, because we're contributing half of the DNA that goes into actually producing that child. The production of sperm is a biological process, and that biological process can be affected by all kinds of things, radiation, things in the environment, all kinds of things, lead. So alcohol will also have an effect, not just to the point where, some sperm will make it, some won't. Some of those sperm that make it and that actually manage to fertilize an egg, it seems can carry genetic, things where the genetic material has been damaged by the overconsumption of alcohol. And it's only a recent study. As I say, I can't remember whether it was last year or early this year.
Yeah, I do. Hang on. I do vaguely remember that study. It was researched by Dr. Michael Golding's laboratory in Texas A&M University, and it indicated that male alcohol use has a significant negative.
If you're remembering his name, now you're checking the internet. Come on.
I am checking the internet. It indicated that male alcohol use has a significant negative influence on vitro fertilization or IVF success rates. Yeah.
So, what I'm saying is, let's be fair here. It's not all the or it's not all the woman's responsibility. We carry a high degree of responsibility. Now, I know you'll be able to kind of stand back and say, well, it's no effect on you because you were never a drinker. I hold my hand up. I'm a drinker. I still drink. I like to drink now and again, and I make no apology for it. But I don't think it's fair for anyone to say, oh, women, they shouldn't drink at all or whatever else.
But here's the thing. But if a young couple are struggling to conceive, right, and some couples do struggle to conceive, right, might take them a little bit of time. They'll go to a doctor, and the doctor will say to the man, do you smoke? Do you drink? To the woman, do you smoke? Do you drink? They're the first things they usually say. And the bloke will say, yeah, I'm smoking 20 cigarettes a day. I might have a few beers. Okay. If you want to get pregnant, you need to stop that. At least stop it until you get pregnant. So, and the guy might go, okay, I'll do that. So then the woman gets pregnant. And then the doctor might say, well, look, it's not advisable to drink. Take paracetamol, take antibiotics, whatever it is while you're pregnant. So then that's her responsibility at that point, isn't it?
No, I take that on board, absolutely. But what I'm saying is there is, of course, that contingent or that cohort of couples who have difficulty conceiving. But there is also, that large collection of couples who don't have a problem conceiving. But it's the man's responsibility to start thinking about, I have a part to play here as well. I'm contributing half the material that will go into, that's a terrible way to put it. But basically, I'm providing half the actual DNA and the material that will go into that child after fertilization and the development. So men have a responsibility and a part to play in this as well. Now, I know it's only just, it's new research, and who knows where it could go. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, I remember when my mother, I think somebody mentioned it earlier on, when my mother was pregnant on my two younger sisters. I have two younger sisters. And on each of them, she was advised to drink this obnoxious concoction that was called milk stout. Okay, it was a mixture of milk and Guinness. I can't imagine anything more revolting. But That was the medical advice.
Oh, I know, but your doctors told everybody to drink a glass of Guinness a day. It'd be good for you. Actually, stay there, Martin, just for a second. I want to go to Adam too before I go to our guest this evening. Adam, hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Good. Adam, I mean, is this guy a bit controlling, telling his missus not to be drinking wine while she's pregnant?
No, I don't think so at all. This is a subject that really riles me up.
Okay.
At the end of the day, if you cannot sacrifice 9 months of your life to do the absolute best you can to give your unborn child the best possible start in life without causing any additional risks, what kind of a parent are you going to be for the next 18 or 20 years?
Good point.
I mean, I was, unfortunately, with my partner at the Coombe Hospital in April of this year. We were over the moon that she was pregnant. We went through all of our midwife appointments, went through our scan, and then they called in a senior midwife telling us they just wanted to point out the limbs, telling us all the limbs are perfect. And I knew something was wrong. And then they got to the skull, and he had anencephalitius, something like that. Anyway, the skull didn't develop. The brain was coming out of his skull. And we were then took him for a very difficult decision. Do we go full term and allow him to have 3 or 4 minutes of life? I think the longest ever survivor is 8 days. Or do we terminate? And we had to make that decision, and we decided to terminate so that he didn't have to suffer. And when we went in for that prearranged 4 days in hospital so that she could give birth naturally and we could meet our little boy, we went out for some fresh air, and I shit you not, there was a woman stood there 9 and a bit months pregnant, waiting to go in for a C-section if it wasn't born within a few days, and she was complaining that she had to leave hospital grounds to smoke a cigarette and drink a can of lager. Now, obviously, my partner's having a breakdown because she's saying, why are we losing our baby and you're...
Yeah, and your partner's doing everything right.
Yeah, every time I went outside, she was stood there with a cigarette. Like, if you cannot sacrifice 9 months of your life, and I understand what the guy before is saying, like, the men have a part to play, but we have a part to play before a baby has been conceived.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't know you're conceiving a baby. It just happens. But to knowingly do something that may cause an issue to that baby. Most pregnant women wouldn't get in a car and let somebody drive them down a country road at 120 miles an hour whilst they're pregnant, because it may have an accident and injure that baby. So why would you put yourself in a position that you may or may not, but there's a chance that you may damage that child?
That's a really good point. And Martin, Jennifer was on before the break and she said there is no evidence that a moderate amount of alcohol has any damage to the fetus. But Adam makes a good point. We said there was no evidence 40, 50 years ago that smoking caused real problems in health. We now know it does. And Adam makes a good point. We may in the future find out actually alcohol, even a small amount, can be a risk. So why put yourself at that risk?
It's an excellent point. Absolutely excellent point. Well made.
And by the way, Adam, I'm very sorry to hear that you lost your child, by the way.
As am I. I entirely agree. As I can't imagine a pregnant woman getting into a car and not using a seatbelt. I absolutely agree. All I'm saying is that, and maybe I'm wrong. It happens. We're all wrong now and again. I do agree. Yes, minimise to the best you can any possibility of anything going wrong. But what I'm saying is, and I entirely understand Adam, isn't it? Adam's point of view?
Adam,
yeah. I entirely understand Adam's point of view. But all I'm saying is that, new evidence and research, and it's fairly new, and it's in its infancy, if you pardon the pun, the research. Who knows where it will go as to what problems can, and it seems it's certainly to do with overindulgence in alcohol, not moderate indulgence with alcohol for men before a woman becomes pregnant. And I'm just saying that there is another side to the conversation. You know, I hear this regularly. People, women this, women that, women the other. And I'm not a feminist. Well, I'm probably an old style feminist. I wouldn't be one of these modern, new wave, feminist retreads. But like, I think that there's another side to the conversation that people have to consider. That's all I'm saying on the matter. Really.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying too, Martin, and I kind of agree with both of you in some sense, but I have to be honest, when I hear Adam's story, and for anybody out there that's lost a child, it must be heartbreaking, particularly in that situation, for a fatal fetal abnormality. I mean, it must be so difficult, and a very difficult decision to make too, in that situation.
Indeed.
No matter what side of the fence.
Can I just point something else out as well?
Yeah.
Just in relation to the actual email. People keep on saying about moderate drinking whilst pregnancy, right? And do you know something? The odd glass of wine, look, is it going to cause damage? I don't know. I wouldn't do it. My partner wouldn't do it. But she never drank at all. The minute she found out she was pregnant, or even before she found out, when she thought she might be, she just refused to drink, even if people said, I'll have a shandy, because we were on holiday. And just go back to that original email, though. Is 800 units of alcohol during a pregnancy moderate drinking?
No.
Because that's what a glass of wine per night during that pregnancy is. It's 800 units of alcohol.
Listen, lads, on that note, I'm going to have to leave it. Adam, thank you very much indeed. And Martin, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening.
Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.